The Nissan Nation podcast is a presentation of DRB and KGB Media.
Recorded live, coast to coast, it's the Nissan Nation podcast. From camping, racing, and all points in between. The NNP is your Nissan Nation podcast. Now start your engines and welcome in the hosts, David and Danny.
What is going on, Nissan Nation? Long time no see, no hear from. Dan, what's going on, buddy?
How's it going, big dude?
Man, it's been a while for us.
What's up, man? Yeah, we've taken a little break, a little siesta.
Man, I think we both had a lot on our plate here lately, man, so it's good to be back, I think.
We've been rolling, bumping, and shaking.
I think you more than me, but we've had some exciting times here, man. It's Went time. By the time this is up, people start rolling in for Went, and that'll be September 16th through 20th, man. So, hey.
Yeah, Windrock Park over there, Tennessee. I'm flying out. I'll be there.
I know, man. I'm so bummed that you can't drive, man. I know your plans got kind of screwed up with that.
I'm even more bummed now that I Titan swapped the truck, and she's looking all badass and ready for anything I can throw at her. I'm pretty bummed now. I'm like, oh, she looks awesome. I want to take her out. And then I'm like, well, I'll go to fly over and ride in somebody else's truck.
Again.
You know?
So, man, yeah, speaking of that, man, you've put some money in that vehicle here lately, man. You've Titan swapped it. Looks like you've maybe borrowed some parts from your other Xterra.
Yeah, I pulled the M205 out of the Xterra and put it in there. The Xterra is going to get some other goodies. So
sweet.
For now, the running beast is the Frontier. So I wanted to make sure that she was all set up for whatever I threw at her. We got some trips planned coming up. So yeah, man, it rides nice now. I'll tell you that.
I seen from talking with Jen Bachman last episode that they're fixing to run the Rubicon over there, man.
Rubicon, yeah. They sound her and Chema and a couple other guys from NorCal. Sounds like they're going up there in October, I believe.
Dude,
you're gonna do the deal.
I watched she posted a video on her Facebook page the other day, and I was watching that, and it was a bunch of Toyota guys, man. And honestly, they look prepared to be there. But God, that looks fun.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list of things to do.
I mean, it looks like you're traveling by water a lot, and just these people are constantly swimming and stuff, and then just the rock climbing that you're doing, and it looks pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it's body damage stuff sometimes, you know. I mean, Chris Haynes.
Who?
Chris Haynes, somebody
Who?
that owns an Xterra, I think. I don't even know. But
the Xterra Frontier.
Yeah, he nerfed the hell out of his rear quarter panel, blew out his rear window, sliding into a rock.
I know.
And that was in just the entrance, I think, or something along those lines.
That was just the parking lot.
Yeah. I know Terry Lindgren took his Xterra up there and nerfed one of his doors or something. I can't remember, but it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. Is it
that gnarly?
I think there's sections where like it can get that, you know, it's really easy to slip off a rock and then douche, you know.
Yeah, right.
You're looking at bent quarters and whatnot.
Well, that looks like really, I mean, you know, you get a taste of that kind of style in Moab, man. But that looks like you go to Moab and then you graduate to Rubicon.
Yeah, I think Moab gets you that false sense of security because you can drive up and over stuff. You get so much more grip, whereas Rubicon is, you know, it's a lot more river rock. It's a lot more slippery, and you know. The whole thing with the Rubicon is like Jeep's been going down there and up and through there for the longest time. And I will say for the Jeep guys, they have that real skinny body on their trucks, and they, you know, a lot of them have the wheel wells and tires that are sticking quite a bit further out. So, you know, it's not whether or not you can do it in an Xterra, it's whether or not you can do it and take body damage because you just have a higher chance, you know, because the trucks are wider. Speaking
of body damage, man, I'm friends with the guys from Colorado. What is it? NORAC is what it is, and Eddie with Wrangler Nets.
Eddie,
I don't, I don't know if people need to just friend this page to see all the damage. It's like every month now, Eddie is putting a new dent in the, what does he call it? The blue bitch or something like that.
Beautiful blue lagoon of Xterra. That thing's so pretty, man. And he went out and stuffed a rock into the door. I think pretty sweet.
I know, man. I mean, and it's not just like a little rock. Over the weekend that him and Meisner, man, they went out and of course, Chris is on 35s, I think, or 30.
Yeah, Chris is on 35s, and he's like full Titan swapped, and I think Eddie's just on like a an Xterra with Ultimate Kit or something like that.
Yeah,
and
33s, I think he's running.
Yeah.
So he's
I mean,
definitely
it's a good kit, but following somebody that's Titan swapped is a whole different
exactly, man. I mean,
different pile game, man.
And well, he's paying for it, and I got a feeling a Titan swap is near his future, man, because that poor thing is starting to look. I guess it's just over a year old now.
Yeah, yeah. He's putting her through the ringer, but you know what? That's how you do it. That's what you do, man. You go out and take it out and beat it up, and that's what they're for. So
speaking of beating things up, with you Titan swapping your vehicle and stuff, any kind of plans to that's got to amp up the adventure a little bit.
I don't have any big plans for runs. I'm leading a Death Valley trip in November. We're gonna go do through Death Valley. It's like a 4 or 5 day trip. I can't remember.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And yeah, there's no serious wheeling. It's mostly fire roads and stuff like that. A couple areas that that you climb over some rocks or whatnot. But it's it's more of like an overland camping trip and stuff. So that's the only thing I have planned somewhat coming up. That's off road, I guess.
That's off road. Besides your pool.
All that, right. But there's a lot of talk of a lot of big trips and trails and stuff going on next year, and I wanted to be ready. And the red truck's the most reliable. It's got the most space for all my camping gear and everything. So I'd kicked around the idea of having the Xterra as like an extreme overlander style. But that's gonna be my desert racer.
Nice. You gotta everybody needs one of those in their garage. Something fast.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Racing's in the blood, man.
Dude, yeah, and we're gonna get into that in a little bit, man. I know you got to finally do a little bit, but so the other day I'm sitting there, and you know how people post on Facebook, and a guy named Justin Lilly. I think I'm saying his last name right.
Yes.
You should know him. Tread lightly guy, stay on the trail guy. Big time in Alaska, man. He
that guy's an adventurer to the max, man. He's either helicoptering in somewhere and skiing down some crazy slopes, or hiking through some glaciers, and
he's a pilot too, right?
All over.
I think
I don't know. He's a badass is what he is. Whatever he's doing it right.
Man. I know, man. And I've been watching his Facebook page too, because of course the Northern Lights are going strong right now up in Alaska,
right.
And that's where he's living. And he's just bringing, posting these killer green and just beautiful colored pictures right now. And the dude is living it right now. And I really want to interview that guy, man. I just want to talk to him, and because I think he's a single guy, man. He looks late 20s, early 30s, and just seems to go do what he wants, man. Like, I think last year he flew down to South America somewhere just to go hang out, and then he's back to Colorado for a little bit, then to Alaska, and he posted.
He's been doing it.
Well, he posted that looks like he might be at Gone Moab coming up this year or next year.
He was at Gone the year that I had the rental.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up riding with him for.
Really, he was there, and I didn't get to meet him.
Yeah, I rode with him for. I don't know. It was a short time, just because whoever I was riding with broke, so I hopped to ride in his truck and chatted. Super cool guy. He was doing the tread lightly thing. I think he's moved on from there, but I think he's taking those jobs that you really get to get out and exploring and have some adventures. I think. I think that we are maybe 4 or 5 Facebook posts away from seeing him mounting a Yeti, or possibly playing thumb war with a crazy Inuit or something out there.
A native up there.
Yeah, he's gonna be getting after it.
But anyways,
he's gonna have little Native American kids.
Well, that looks like the poor guy did what a lot of people have done and broke a front diff, and that must be adventures to. It's one thing to find parts, at your local Nissan dealer or parts store, But it's got to be another to find parts in Alaska, you know? I mean, I know they have a couple dealers up there, but everything is doubled. Our buddy Dan with the 4x4 podcast is up there right now, him and his family. And some simple, I think he's got an oil leak in his Jeep or something. He went to get just like a little $8 part, and of course everything's like double and tripled. So
yeah, no. Anytime I have to ship something up there, it's like an extra $60 or something like that. Basically,
really,
it's ridiculous to get stuff up there. I mean,
what's that? The Land Before Time up there?
We think about it as like the United States, but basically it's like as far or as wide as the U.S. is apart, like from west to east to west. It's like that from from Southern California up to Alaska. That's about how far it is. You know, it's like it's a long freaking way, and it's not hospitable territory per se the way, you know. Well,
you know, I've been listening to the 4x4 podcast a little bit, and Dan's kind of given a trip. Each show he's given a little bit of his trip because he drove from Kansas all the way up there.
Right.
And I think they spent like a month and a half. It was just sightseeing a little bit too, but I think he put over 5,000 miles on his vehicle just getting up there.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed though, because he took that whole trip and didn't pick up a single vagabond or power rock holder.
Well,
so I don't know. I find it hard to believe that he went that far without picking. Speaking of nobody picking up vagabonds, Derek Metz is still killing it out there. He's cruising around up through Alaska now. He's up in Alaska, right?
Yeah. I guess he's went to whatever the northernmost part is, which you can drive.
Yeah.
That, and he's just tooling around now. And I guess, you know, I want a list of his things he's broke on this trip, because
I think everything from the back to the front is a good starting point.
I think he's testing Nissan's everything you need, nothing you don't theory.
Yeah.
Because he, I guess now he's got brake issues again, and just like I was saying with parts, you know, it's everything, you know, is double or triple the price, and then it's like 2 weeks away. Everything is.
For sure.
So yeah, following his adventures, overlandtravels.com, you can kind of go see, you know, the carnage and trip. He literally left from my house. He started his journey, man, and the poor guy, I don't think got to Memphis before his first breakdown and life lesson.
He suffered some pretty good, solid breakdowns on just a couple days in.
Right, and you know, it was what sucks is he kind of was planning to be in Atlanta this year. That's where he was going to finish his trip up. But I think everything's just, the time is doubled. Everything's just, you know, you plan, but you plan for a world where there's roads and you know, McDonald's and everything right next to you.
I bet you he wouldn't have had all those breakdowns if he picked up himself a couple Power Rocks.
Dude.
All I'm saying is for those of you that are planning a nice long trip across the U.S., down to South America, Panama, Africa, whatever you're planning, leave room in there for picking up some vagabonds, because you know what? This world turns, and one good deed does not go unpower rocked. You know what I'm saying?
Power rocked. Well, I think
I've never run into any problems personally. So
I think in Dan Cole's situation, I think he's in a little 2-door Cherokee when he drove up there with a trailer, and I think he's got a family of 3 plus a dog. So
he could have put him in the trailer.
Dude, I agree. They could have rode on the roof.
Though you may never get that smell out of the trailer, so that's a wild card.
Could you imagine driving through the border there and there's some hippie stuck to your roof? And how do you explain that one?
You see, what happened was that is Power Rock. Officer is a Power Rock.
Damn, the mosquitoes are big up here. But anyways, man, speaking of South America, what was that TV show? It's we'll say it's based by Toyota, but what is it? Expedition Overland?
Yeah.
The thing on their YouTube channel, man. Those guys are down in South America, and I guess they basically traveled from Montana and just going down to Panama and back. But I've got a little beef here, man. Toyota has really stepped up their game with advertising on that show. In the first couple...
Well, they didn't just step up their game. They gave them some brand new Forerunners and said, outfit these things.
Yeah.
And then they outfitted them, but they were, you know, it's like they went like full retard awesome because they were like, hey, we want them to look fairly stock. So they had to, you know, they set the winches inside, made it still look freaking awesome. And, yeah, I mean, you know, some of the stuff, obviously, I'd like a more beastly built rig for what they're going through or whatever. I haven't watched too many. I've watched like 1 or 2 of the episodes because I'd like to watch every single one in like binge watching status. But
their Alaska journeys are the ones to watch, man. I really have enjoyed that one, but this year it's been like, I mean, for one, you're in Mexico. It's I don't know. It's, I think of Mexico, I'm thinking of Cabo or somewhere fun, some destination. I don't know that I want to see the sleazy part of Mexico. And, we have states here. Well, they have states there that are different countries. And it's like every time they try to go through another one 15 miles away, it's a new, list of issues. But the thing that aggravates me, and Nissan, if you're listening, which...
you're aggravating the hell out of us.
Yes, you killed my beloved Xterra, which we've known has been coming for several years now, which is official.
Which if I see someone from their marketing or whatever, though I will be very cordial, they may get a kidney punch.
But they
and then I'll say that was for whoever was in charge of killing off the Xterra. Just pass it on.
Yeah, pass it on.
Man? Pass on the kidney punch.
So yeah,
anyhow, keep up with your thought.
Here's my rant, my grind my gears section. But so what? So what really pisses me off about this is, of course, Toyota seems to get the off-road market, which Nissan doesn't, and pretty much Chevy and no other brand really sort of gets besides Toyota, but with their TRD program. But so the first 2 episodes of this new season is nothing but Toyota ad. I mean, it shows them building, trying to scramble to get the vehicle, the icon stuff on, and their last minute. I can't figure out why they decided to get some tent from South America or South Africa, but hey, there's nothing like a 2-week journey just to get here for that. But I digress here. But what really pisses me off, before every one of them, it's a damn Toyota ad, and it's basically the everything you need, nothing you don't that Nissan was doing in the early 2000s. They're showing it with this manual transfer case. They're shifting. There's some guy acting like he got snake bit and he's running through the swamps and stuff, and it shows his truck really really splashing, man. And just they're showcasing the 4Runner. Hey Nissan, guess what? You build a vehicle called a Pro 4X that is an off-road based vehicle. It was built as a Titan, it's built as a Frontier, and it was built as the Xterra. And yet, I haven't seen an ad for any of those other than a freaking airplane landing in the back of a Frontier's bed. Oh, that's going to really
that got pulled off because it was false advertising.
Well, I mean, there was probably some redneck around where I'm at trying to break through the gate so he can get his truck out there,
Got a Cessna. Hey, Earl, land that Cessna in the back of my truck. Hey, Earl, come on, we can do it.
God damn it, hold my beer now. But, I mean, seriously.
I'll build something. We'll land that somewhere.
So Toyota's actually like getting the vehicles dirty and muddy and showcasing what it can do. And there's Nissan, what? One of them was jumping a dune or something one time, some ridiculous thing. And I love my Nissans, and I'm fond of Toyota, but I'm a Nissan guy through and through. But hey guys, here's a show that cost them literally 2 vehicles, which in advertising is like 10 seconds of their time, probably what these 2 vehicles cost them. Hey Nissan, throw us a bone, man.
Yeah. Throw me a Titan.
Yeah, I mean, there's people here that like desert racing.
For my tow truck, throw me a Titan for the tow truck for the Nissan Xterra Racing.
Screw that, dude.
Promote through the Nissan Nation podcast, Xterra Performance and Niztec lifts and off-road performance parts and such.
We could throw a B&M light bar or something on there. I don't know. We'll throw something on there.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, like the perfect chance for Nissan. They're bringing out this new Titan now. Hey, man. Yeah, I mean, it's a diesel, and they're going to show the gas version this spring, but build one to race, man. I know you'll start seeing these things at SEMA. When is SEMA, Dan?
That'll be late October, I believe. Late October, November. First weekend in November, I think. But
okay, so I'll
be interested if they have. They gotta have one. You'd think they'd gotta have one there, or they'd release it and then have some people put some stuff on it for SEMA or.
Well, they showed one of those videos where there was over in Southern California and PRG and all those guys were kind of taking measurements and stuff. So they're going to showcase something there.
We'll see.
But
we're getting our tickets next week for it.
Nice, man. I still want to fly out there.
You can.
Well, I can, but it's like paying for the ticket. I don't. Speaking of paying for the ticket, if you guys, what a great segue, Dan.
Oh,
if you guys would like to, throw us a little support, we don't have. This is free entertainment. This is the Dave and Dan show. It's sometimes can be Dumb and Dumber, and sometimes can be useful information. But all we ask is, if you're going to buy anything from Amazon, go to our website, www.nissannationpodcast.com, and click. I've got a couple banner links up there. Click one of those banner links if you're going to buy something. And it doesn't matter. We've got automotive stuff in the banner links, but it doesn't matter. It's anything you purchase, we get a small kickback from. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4%, something like that. But it costs you guys nothing. And what it's doing is supporting the show. It's gonna help pay for Dan some beer over there. Maybe it went. Or moonshine, I'm sorry.
It'll pay for my birthday moonshine.
Yeah.
That went.
It might.
Wait, is that what we're plugging?
Exactly.
Pay for my moonshine at Went. Buy through Amazon link.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe for that.
That pays for shirts, Dave. That pays for shirts.
Right.
It pays for stickers.
Anyways, we it might get me on my trip to Moab next year because we're driving out. It actually might get me from Murfreesboro to Nashville, which is like 40 minutes away. So anything you guys buy, if you would please use the banner links, and if you'll buy something cool and you hit us up on Facebook and want to talk about it, we will announce what you bought on the air. I've heard this done on other podcasts. People seem to like they buy a flat screen, or hell, I don't care if it's Band-Aids or something, man. But just please use the link. What's that, Dan?
Do you get to see what people buy after they buy it?
I do get to see what they buy. I don't see who buys it.
Shoot, did you see what I bought?
Dude, I did see some lube the other day. I'm not going to lie.
Man, I'm going to buy some weird stuff just so you see it and you're like, what the hell?
That'll be nice. Hey, they sell adult toys and stuff too, so I don't care. Lady, men, whatever floats your boat, you need to buy oil.
Lady men. Xterra Frontier Lady men.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Caitlyn Jenner. I do not care what it is. This, I'm not going to lie. We're not getting rich by that by any means, but it does kind of help support the show a little bit, and it's going to be able to that we can buy T-shirts to sell, or just pay for our hosting fees and stuff. So if you would, please use the banner link at www.nissannationpodcast.com.
You know what, Dave?
Yes,
I think we should also create a give us money so we can be better.
Yes.
After tonight, we will be announcing the send us money so we can be better. You'll be able to send us money, and we promise that we will be better. How's that sound, Dave?
I'm
an idea guy.
You are an idea.
Throw it out there.
You got the wave going right now, man. So
it's a far cry from a wave, Dave. This is the under the hat all day.
This is the crash, I guess. It's the after wave part.
It's the dirty crash.
It's better than the dirty Sanchez or something,
Yeah, but don't worry. For Went, the wave will be in full.
Nice.
In its full regalia, if you will.
Dude, it's days away as this is posted, man.
I know. It would be very few days if I was driving, but it's about a week.
Man, I've seen people register from Canada, and not just Canada, like Vancouver.
Hell yeah.
And
jeez.
Yeah, no kidding. And we've got, of course, you're flying out from SoCal there. We've got our number one, I won't say number one fan, I'll say number one A fan, Chema, is driving out.
Yeah, Chema, dude, I'm telling you, Dave, we are gonna have so much fun at this event. Every event that I've been to so far, I've been excited for. Gone Moab this last year was awesome. I was excited because so many rad people were gonna be there. I think part of it was because last year it was like the biggest tease because I went to Went and I was there for 2 days.
Oh yeah,
maybe. And the second day of the 2 days I had to leave early, so I saw everybody right before they went on the first run of the day.
You didn't get to do any runs then, huh?
I just did some runs with you. I did some runs with Mets. We got all muddied. And then it was when everybody finally got there and it started to kick off, I was like, "Hey guys, great to meet you. I'm out of here." So it was such it was just like a tease buzzkill, man.
Oh, you left early in the morning too, right before the trails too.
Yeah. Everybody was just rounding up to go out on the trails, and I was so bummed, dude. I was like, driving that stupid little car to the airport. And I was like so bummed out, man. I was so bummed. So I'm so stoked.
Was that the Sentra you were flexing out last year?
Yeah, the Sentra. I mean,
Nice.
I did get to go out to dinner with all you homies, so that was nice.
Well, we got that one coming up too, man. That's always fun. Some of the event guys get together and we all try to get Danny to what we call Mexican restaurant. And
it's not Texican, it's Tennesseecan
Tennecan.
food. Tennecan food.
Or Mexican.
Yeah. Mexisol.
But yeah, we got
Anyhow.
Mr. Nice Tech himself, Chris Meisner's driving out here, man.
Yeah, he's gonna be driving out. I think he's gonna spend some time out there too afterwards. After I think he's gonna go visit some friends and stuff. So
yeah, man,
we'll have a lot of fun. I guess we're like basically cabin buddies. We're right next door. So
we are cabin buddies. And for those, if you're listening to this, and obviously you know me and Kelly and Luke and everybody put this on, we're in cabin 12, and I think Dan is in cabin 13.
What? Don't tell anybody that, man.
So if there's anybody who wants to prank somebody, Dan is a
no. Oh, dude. Oh, this year it's on, man. I've been doing my research. The Prank Nation. I think we need a Prank Nation Instagram, bro, or something, so that we could just post pictures of prankulars happen nonstop. Because my entire goal this went is to cause the most late night I fell asleep and now my truck is filled with balloon style pranks that ever. I mean, that was last year, obviously, so that can't be done again.
You know what we need? We need some of those peanuts. You know what those shipping peanuts?
Oh,
dude,
we're gonna go hit up Walmart again or whatever
it
was and find some deer piss or whatever.
Deer piss.
Like bacon flavored deer piss or whatever.
Instead of bear repellent, we want bring bear piss. In heat bear, female bear piss. We're gonna pour it all over Luke's truck or somebody. But
I've been doing my research. I'm collecting my my ammunition for this year's.
Well, have you talked to the prank master himself, Joey Parent, there, and gotten some tips?
I haven't, but I mean, I spent a good time with him in Moab, and we come up with stuff,
All right, man, dude. God, every year, this is my 5th year doing this event, man. And it's just like every year, of course, doing the event, the bones kind of fall into place, and it's not new things. It's just kind of dialing in each year. But just my excitement to get over there. I haven't been over there since, I guess it was April or May, somewhere in there. And I haven't got to really wheel since then because my Xterra is still down, and I don't want to tear up Kelly's too bad. So I'm just excited to get out there and wheel a little bit.
Well, it's about time you got that Frontier out and got her dirty. You haven't even taken her into real dirt yet, have
dude?
You?
I've drove it through a creek or two, and that's about it, man. I started.
Yeah, you took some glamour shots in a little sprig of grass, dude.
That's right.
Crawling. That's all I've seen.
That's right, man. Hey, somebody's got to do it. No, but seriously, I've got my my new Nice Tech coils came in the mail the other day.
Yeah, the Mark 84 coils. Those are the ones I've been running for about a year now. Those things are sweet, man.
And
I saw you put those white knuckle sliders on.
Right. Yeah, John.
Dude, we're like matching, man.
Well, I'm not Titan. I don't have a Titan swap vehicle that I can go steal from.
You'll get there, but no. John from White Knuckle Sliders, man. He's hooked me up. I know he's hooked you up. The White Knuckle Sliders are beautiful sliders. They're perfect. They work so good on the car. They sponsor your event, man. I can't say enough good things about John. He's pretty stand-up guy to help us out so much with all this stuff. It
trips me out, man. Me and Kelly email, him and his wife quite a bit, and the dude is so supportive of what we do. And I'm sure Toyota and some of the other vehicles is more of his bread and butter, but he seems to love, every year he wants to sponsor the rock challenge we do that you'll actually get to see this year, Dan,
Right?
Maybe you'll get to do one of your crazy videos of you going up it again.
Ooh, climbing the rock challenge. It'll happen.
But yeah, they've sponsored that since the 2nd year of doing it, and he loves it, and he's sending out some killer rock slide trophies. I don't even think you've seen those last year. He makes these killer. They're like part rock slider.
I have not in person. I've seen them online and stuff.
And for each class we've got 2 classes that will attempt the rock challenge, and I think there's like 12 people that want to try it this year. It's
nice.
It'll be the biggest.
You know if Cody's coming out this year?
Crazy
stuff.
He's texted me.
Is he registered?
He texted me and said he wants to, but no, he hasn't registered yet. But
All right.
you know that mud bog thing he built, he sold that one.
Yeah, that's
he
gone,
built.
I know that. But now he's got some crazy trailer, and then he's got a solid axle, exoscale, other Xterra.
But yeah, so
that's yeah.
But you missed out the record time last year. That was like, what was it, like 57 seconds or something like that?
50 something seconds. I just watched that video. Somebody reposted it the other day. Man, that was cool.
Yeah.
That guy ripped up that thing. That was pretty awesome.
And was skillful about it. He didn't just floor it, you know. But anyway,
yeah,
so
that was like how you carry momentum over something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a picture perfect momentum ride.
And he sort of had a spotter, man. Sort of, but the guy couldn't keep up with how smooth and fast the guy was going. But so we got that, and obviously Dan's going to do a bunch of pranks, and we've got our live show. And we're hoping if you're listening to this and showing up, man.
The birthday went show, man.
That's right. That is Dan's birthday, I believe, isn't it? Next Thursday.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we're gonna have, we got the dinner before.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of people trying to push alcoholic beverages into me for that show, and I promise you that I will do my very, very best to maintain an appropriate level. Now, I don't know. Hopefully, it'll be a slightly more appropriate than Gone, but not too
fun.
Appropriate.
I was going to say we can't go too mainstream, man.
It can't be too soft.
Just because we got a couple cool shirts now, man, don't mean we're that mainstream.
Doesn't mean we have to be that classy.
Yeah, hey, stay classy, San Diego. But anyway, so yeah, we're excited for Went, and that's coming up, and I guess that's kind of all of our news right now. So
yeah, it's basically the local news. Beep, 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 beep. Done.
All right, so tonight, normally we try to have some kind of interview lined up, but tonight it's all about the Dan Amigo here, man. We've hyped his racing, and we know what happened with the Mint 400 and the problems that they kind of had of just, what the problems, I guess, really when you're bringing a vehicle out of the graveyard slightly and just trying to get it back up and running. And so we got, what was this last race? The Vegas to Reno?
Vegas to Reno, yeah. So basically, that truck hasn't raced in 6 years, something like that. And that's racing, really. Trying to get a race car ready to, meet all one, running in a good, reliable way, and then two, making sure that everything is up to, inspection standards, because there's a long list of rules and regulations that every truck has to get, man, so that you can go out there and race safely. And
I guess maybe some of the problems was it maybe a little bit of a late start with everything. What, y'all really didn't get kicking until the end of last year, first part of this year?
Yeah, we kind of agreed last year in like November that we were going to try and make a go for the whole season of races, which there's only three races on the ticket for the season, because the brand new class 71 in the desert.
And so that's each race is kind of based on the class, right? So I mean, obviously there's all kinds of desert racing, but this 7100 class, is this like, because I know barely anything about this racing, is this kind of like the NASCAR series where you have kind of obviously you have the Sprint Cup guys, which is the big guys, and is that how they do the classes, like the?
Well, here's basically, I'll try and give you the quick down and dirty of how it works. So there's a few races throughout the year, and almost all the races are for all the classes. So what you get is like 4 or 5 races throughout the year. Most of them have all the trucks and buggies and cars and motorcycles and quads. Some of them just have like a trophy truck and motorcycles or something like that. For the most part, it's all classes though. And next year there's going to be a couple more races in the series. But when I say series, you have to race all the series to win the overall winner. Each race is counted as points if you finish. Each race is counted as more points if you win. so on and so forth. But
right. So it's kind of your traditional, you get points and stuff, and then you win the title at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But I think what y'all's goal was just to kind of, let's take one race at a time and just get going, right?
Yeah, we wanted to enter this new class. It's a brand new class that Best in the Desert opened up. It's basically a stock class with, you run a stock motor and all that stuff, and you can pretty much have like bolt-on long travel style suspension with some modifications. Not too extreme. You have to have, if you came with leaf spring, you have to, or if the vehicle is designed with leaf spring, you have to have leaf spring. If it was designed with A-arm, you have to have A-arm. 18-inch max travel in the rear. It's a mini truck stock class, so you have to run some type of small size vehicle.
Is that why, like I see on that truck, maybe the factory style rims and stuff, or is that just out of?
The factory style rims was from just because that Xterra was actually, it's an 06. It was actually one of the very first Xterras that Nissan used for all their ads and stuff, and they actually sent it to Dave Blakely, which is the driver. They sent it to him because he was racing as a factory vehicle class. So I think you posted something on Facebook of a silver Nissan with kayaks on it and stuff. I believe from what I remember Dave telling me, and he may correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the exact same truck that's racing right now.
Nice.
It's been repainted and stuff. But so anyways, the truck had a few miles on it. It was destined for the Crusher, and then they said, okay, we're going to have you, build this up and race it. So that's kind of like the history of it. And, it's just jumping Danny Groders in November. I've been trying to desert race for the last 15 years, and haven't, just because of logistics or cost or time or, all the other things in life that cause you not to do some of your dreams. But it was time for me to, track this guy down. So I'll try and give the long story short. I tracked him down and said, hey, what's it going to take to get this thing to race? And he said, well, the truck's pretty close to race ready. I just need someone to sponsor me and, help me get out to the races. So we worked out some deals and tried to get the truck out to the first race, and that didn't happen. We had the Mint fiasco where we just couldn't get the truck ready for it. But
there were some programming issues or something.
Yeah, the ECU that we were using wasn't working, totally died. We had to get a new one, and then no one's ever written a full ground up program just with basic sensors for this motor yet. So we had AEM stepped up. They helped us out big time with a control ECM for it, a standalone ECM for it, and we got that thing programmed, and now it's pulling some good numbers on the dyno, and we finally got it all tuned up for the Vegas to Reno, and we were pretty excited, because it's a 500-mile race, so we were pretty excited to kind of get that going and get out in the desert, man.
Well, it was kind of neat, me and you had talked beforehand of, you were like, hey, man, if I want to, if we can get some pictures up and stuff as the truck's going, and just like some of the behind-the-scenes stuff you were sending me of, kind of where y'all were staying hotel-wise, and just, I caught the bug with you a little bit because it was just exciting to see, like, man, Dan's finally going to, I know you guys, and especially Dave and them, worked very hard trying to get this truck going. They, a couple weeks beforehand, they put 50 or 60 miles on it just as a shakedown.
Yeah, they put 120. It's funny because they put 120 miles on doing shakedown run because it's basically fairly new on a lot of the suspension design that he did, and a lot of the since he's got the new motor run or the new ECU and the motor running and stuff like that, there hasn't been a total shakedown run with everything kind of tuned in.
Right.
So it was kind of nice that they got that time in, 120 miles.
But it was cool, like, you were posting up on Instagram, and what is your, Xterra Performance on your Instagram?
Yeah, Xterra Performance on Instagram, yeah.
And it was really cool, and for those that, whatever Dan does in the future with this, it was cool. He always posts up a bunch of pictures, and, you kind of showed starting line, and just, you could see you excited with your helmet, finally getting to put that fire suit on, and it was going to be meaningful and stuff,
Oh, man, It's kind of hard to describe when you're actually like there, like fulfilling a dream. I've watched dudes climb in those trucks a million times, and well, not a million, but quite a few times. And it's just every time you see somebody, you're out pit crewing or something like that, and you're just thinking like, one day I'm going to do that, and I, since I was 16, I've been saying one day I'm going to be the guy in that truck. And I'm still saying one day I'm going to be the guy behind the steering wheel, but, I think of it as, you gotta jump before you can fly, or whatever the term is.
Right.
You gotta swim before you can drown, or I don't know.
Well, I think with like the Mint 400, a lesson was learned there, man, is sometimes it's a step forward, then two steps back. And
yeah.
And I got to see the vehicle at Moab. It showed up a little bit late, but I think it showed up, and everybody got to see, okay, man, this is real for Dan, and to see your name kind of on the side and stuff, and that was really cool, in your company's name. And what, he fired it up, I think, and you got to drive it a little bit, which of the condos or something. But
right.
But yeah, so you had your problems of the Mint. It's pretty well documented that you guys ended up just pitting for somebody or helping somebody out.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, okay, there's another month or so before Dan's going to get to do anything again. And I guess it gave Dave and them some time to maybe make a couple tweaks and really get that motor running. And he posted some videos of that thing, and man, that engine sounded wicked.
Yeah, that motor's pushing 275 at the rear wheel, which
and
is
that's
pretty
actually
amazing,
at the wheel.
Yeah, that's at the rear wheel. It's dyno tested, dyno tuned. And that's detuned from what they had it at, because they actually pulled a bunch more horsepower out of that thing. And we were like, we don't need that much horsepower. We don't want to start breaking stuff, unfortunately.
So the story goes.
you know how the story goes. But that's that's a detuned motor, which kind of says something for that 4-liter motor. When you kind of get it set up, and you can kind of take a lot of the stuff off and get it, just bare bones motor that's pulling those horsepower numbers.
Yeah, which what had to be probably well over 300 horsepower then,
Probably, yeah. So it's cool that that we got everything running and good, and I was, yeah, man, putting that fire suit on and getting ready. Let's
kind of get to it, because I know you had to drive. It starts in Vegas, right?
Yeah, so we all it's like Northern Vegas. They have contingency where you bring the truck in and you drive it around. You kind of go through like this zigzag pattern around through all these. Pretty much, it's like a big truck show. Really, everybody's got their KC Lights, who's one of our sponsors. PCI Radios, who does all the the race radios and the helmet radios and stuff like that. They have their big truck set up to sell stuff. And so a little, just so we don't get too far, a little bit of because I don't know these things, is like they do some sponsorship. I guess like with KC, they do a little bit of sponsorship. And what, do they set the vehicle up for lights then? Is that how it works? Yeah, they've helped us out putting lights on the truck, and then as well they also help us aim them, kind of give us what they think that the best setup is going to be for ground lighting, because when you're going that fast, it's a whole different ball game from a couple dudes wheeling out at nighttime in Windrock, and right. If you're going 100 miles an hour in the desert at night, you need a couple different setups for light. You need light that's going to cut through the dust. You need light that's going to show, a couple 100 yards down the way, and then you need light right in front of you and to the sides. So it's a much more in depth. You just think, you lighting throw a couple, algorithm, I guess right. You could say. Yeah, and I've heard the term, you can actually outrun your lights. So yeah, absolutely. So I guess that's pretty important to have somebody like Casey that they've done off-road lighting for 40 years now, man. Yeah, it's probably since the beginning of really desert racing and stuff. I think that was their claim to fame. But they've really stepped up, and they're actually they are giving contingency, or they're giving money for if you win the race, you get a certain dollar amount for winning the race. You get a certain dollar amount for winning the series. So it's really cool that they've stuck with desert racing and stuck with us, and they've actually come out with like a really cool bunch of new products, the little Canon lights, which blew me away. We put some on the truck actually the day before we raced. They set us up with a couple more little lights. They're little pods, and I was blown away at how how efficient of a light it is. They're little 10-watt LED lights,
Right.
but they're set up totally different, and they're pretty cool dude that helps us out, and always willing to, support the desert racing scene and all the desert racing guys.
Is it some of the lenses that the colored lenses and stuff? Is that how some of that is?
Yeah, they have everything.
Right.
They got yellow lenses, which is a little bit better in the dust, and the just the throw of the pod, like the reflector in the pod, which helps the throw. But and there's much more to it than what I could explain.
Sure. Well, I guess part of what I was asking was you were talking about the race radios and stuff. Is that kind of part of the deal too? Is maybe some sponsorship and they set you guys up?
Yeah, one of the things that we do is before every race you have to you get registered and you get a transponder which goes in your truck. That way they can track you anywhere you go. If you roll over, it'll tell them that you rolled over.
Kind of like a GPS thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a GPS. If you get hurt, they can actually radio into that little unit and say, "Hey, are you guys okay?" And you can press a button and say, "Yeah, we're fine."
Cool.
We're out of the race or whatnot. There's a lot of safety features that come along with something like that. But, on top of that, we run race radios in the truck with intercoms in the truck. And that, it's basically close to ham frequencies. So you got a long range. It's a little bit better than a CB, which, you basically wouldn't be able to talk to you until you walked right into the pits. But
so part of the setup is getting that, I guess you kind of give them your truck a little bit and they set up some of that, and of course you had to have some kind of a chase crew, a pit crew, right?
Yeah, Nick Schulte and the Blakely brothers all pitched in, and we had a couple guys from Vegas that helped out. I'm drawing a blank on one of the guys from Vegas.
But what
anyways, they all helped out, and they pretty much jump from pit to pit to help if you have problems.
But they're in the end, their goal is they've got to basically outrun you guys to the next stop. Is that correct? Or
yeah. There was like 14 pits all the way up, and there's certain pits that they can and can't get to on time. So we had 2 trucks for pits, so they kind of just bunny hop each pit to one guy gets to the next, and depending on which pit it was, we kind of had the plan set up to where we were going to try and pit, where we were going to just have a drive through where we just look and make sure nothing's hanging off the truck, and something that we couldn't see was good or whatever.
Right.
But,
well, is that? I mean, do they kind of have designated areas for pitting then?
Yeah, there's designated pits along the entire route. That they have race coordinators at the beginning of the pit with like a stop sign to you come to a stop, and then you can only go 15 miles through the miles per hour, or 20 something like that through the pit. So it's really well organized. Casey with Best in the Desert does a really good job of making it safe, but without taking any of the fun out of it. So and they pre-run the course, and you have a list of stuff in that's one of the navigator's job, is he has a list of every every hard turn or rock pile or whatever obstacles coming up at every mile marker, and you have that and it's all mapped in your GPS unit that you're looking for. So I can tell, I have my list of things that are coming up, and I can tell when we're going to come up to them on the GPS. So that way, you're not going to come barreling in on something that's just going to destroy your truck.
Right.
Though that happens anyway.
Sure. Well, when you're going 100 miles an hour, but with the pitting and stuff, I mean, I would think there's some calculations you had to do to kind of know your fuel mileage and
yeah. The gas mileage is a big thing. We bring fuel, dump cans that need to be refilled and whatnot. So yeah, there's calculations on how many dump cans we're going to need, how many times we're going to stop.
Obviously the Xterra itself is a huge. It hates gas, really, I think. So, how many miles do you think that you guys could go on a tank? I'm assuming you're running some kind of race tank, and it's probably a little larger than normal.
It's a 30 gallon fuel cell. I wanted to say we were getting like 6 or 7 miles to the gallon or something like that.
So it's like towing something basically in your stock vehicle.
Yeah. So not the best gas mileage desert racing.
Right.
But.
So you guys get in the night before, man, and you got your hotel room and stuff, and I imagine there's no sleep before, because once again you came to this fast, but you had the disappointment with the first one where you literally got to the race and just decided that it wasn't going to happen. And you got, now you've got your hotel rooms, and I know you were kind of scrambling because it was like, maybe y'all, like this race was, you knew you wanted to do it, but it was still kind of like is it going to happen or not, right?
Yeah, we were 100% sure it was going to happen, but there was just still a lot of little dumb things that come up after, right before a race, and especially with a truck hasn't, they literally like 2 days before the race, they were doing shakedown run. And when you do shakedown run, little things come up. We ended up changing out brake pads to a different pad just because the pads that we had on there, they were not breaking right for the temps that we were putting them on. Little things, fire extinguishers we had to mount up, sponsor stick, simple stuff like sponsor stickers. Right. We wanted to mount the Max Tracks that I brought out there, so he couldn't mount those until I brought those out there. Max Tracks always takes care of us for that too. They donated some Max Tracks with us, so we wanted to make sure I have those in there for silt beds.
Yeah, because that is like, what was the video I was telling you I watched the other day on Netflix? Dust and Dirt or something.
Dust to Glory, yeah.
Dust to Glory. And that really opened my eyes up to the needs that you may have out in the desert, because I guess silt is the number one killer of a vehicle. Yeah, really, you would think it might be rocks and stuff, but no.
And I can tell you what, after driving that, like, silt is death, man. I mean, no, whether you get through it or not, it doesn't matter. It just sucks so bad.
So you really like with Max Tracks, you really, I mean, you guys you can use those as shovels, as anything.
Yeah. They're definitely a legitimate thing that you makes a huge difference. And just one of the a little thing, like we had a little rope that you'd hook onto the bumper, so you stick them in front of the tire. Mm-hmm. If you get out, it's still hooked to your truck, so you can get out of the sand, and they would just yank them out of the sand behind you, and you could get out away from that silt.
Right.
Hooking that stuff up. What else was there? There was just little things, setting up camelbacks in there, and
because I would think you'd get dehydrated quick. You've got to have lots of water with you.
Yeah, we had lots of water, and then packing the whole truck full of all the stuff that you're going to need out there, because your pit crew can't come and get you if you break. So you have to bring everything that you think you might need. So, ratchet sets and
couple
tools
extra,
to get the wheels on and off. And
couple extra tires, I guess.
Things. Yeah, you're required to have a survival bag to help you survive for 24 hours out in the desert. If, something crazy happens in one of the far out areas, you got to be able to, and which ended up coming in handy.
But so I'm just trying to set the scene here a little bit. So the night before, I imagine just through all the ups and downs you've had, man, there's no sleep the night before for you, is there?
No, I think we ended up going to bed at like 11, which was kind of early. We decided, you know what, we're good. We can still do a couple things in the morning, because we weren't leaving until 9 or something in the morning. So, I was thinking that there was no chance I was going to get any sleep, but I was exhausted. I woke up early in the morning to get out there the day before. So
right. So just mentally, it probably just wears you down.
Yeah. We all ended up just going to our rooms, passing out, waking up, getting right back at it in the morning.
And I'm sure for guys like Dave and his brothers, like some of this is just I know they don't race all the time, but this is probably gets to be a little bit routine for them.
Yeah, they've been racing for 16 years, pit crewing and
right. So it's easy probably they've learned to calm themselves down a little bit. And
yeah, I think racing, Dave was excited because he hasn't been in the driver's seat in a long time. But at the same time, I think they were all. I mean, we were all kind of in the same mindset. We didn't want to be up till 2 a.m. trying to get the truck ready. Mm-hmm. We wanted a good night's sleep beforehand. So we ended up getting a lot done. But there's just tons of logistics. Having a big cooler for all the pit crew with waters, and
right,
because 5 guys out in a 105 degree desert, driving for you have to plan on driving for 16 to 20 hours, up this race course, just not only for the drivers but for all the pit crew. So you want to have food and water for all those guys. So it's just all that kind of stuff that you have to basically get there and make sure is 100% ready before you undertake that.
And you've got I'm sure you want to do some pictures and stuff, and
oh yeah,
And I'm sure the event probably has some of that stuff too. They want to document it a little bit, I would think.
Yeah, we actually had, which sucks too. We had a company called Turn 2. They were going to be doing videography for all. They set up like a ton of different videographers at all these different corners throughout the entire race, and then when they're done, they send you a big long clip of all your truck going through all these different sections of race,
right.
Which was cool because I really wanted to have that for
Well, yeah, man, this is
for posterity and for marketing purposes.
Sure,
really,
and this is your rookie moment. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
You got to have that one documented. So you kind of wake up in the morning, and I guess there was some stuff you got to do, and you said your time was 9 o'clock or so that y'all were leaving out.
Yeah, we actually had to leave at like 7 to get out there because it actually the starting line was about an hour and a half, 2 hours out of North Las Vegas. So we drove out there and parked, got the truck off, and kind of last minute tiny little things, put the race catheters
on. Welcome to that world.
Which are awesome, by the way. You just pee whenever you want. That's pretty sweet. Yeah. Well, no walking around looking for porta potties trying to get in and out of a fire suit.
Exactly. I've got one now, man.
I'm sorry. What were you saying? I was not focusing.
So
just all that little stuff.
So you're getting in line, and what was the draw for you guys? What number or what position?
Well, so the stock classes start like way in the back. So you get your trophy trucks, your class 1 cars, your class 10 cars, your class 15 cars, I should say. And then class 10 and all these different cars that go ahead of you that are usually way more faster than our class. So we ended up starting at like almost 11 o'clock. I think they were shooting for 10:30, but all these different trucks start 30 seconds apart, and there was 300 entries.
Holy cow.
Into this race. That includes motorcycles and quads, but still,
So they even go before you guys did?
Race cars, yeah. All the motorcycles and quads start first. They're okay. Fast, and they go fast. But sometimes trophy trucks catch those guys.
Sure,
which is a scary thing to think.
I know, man. It'd be like a gnat on the window or something,
Yeah, they actually said they warned those guys. They said if a helicopter comes and hovers sideways in front of you, that means a trophy truck's headed at you.
Right.
So off the road.
Right. So
anyways, we were third to leave in our class.
Well, what kind of vehicles were you guys up against?
So there was 3 guys in our, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 trucks in our class this round. There was a Ford Ranger Baja Olive Racing, which is a really, really nice. He was actually ended up being the overall winner. His name's Justin Park. He runs the Baja Olive truck. It's a long travel Ford Ranger, 4-liter long travel. And then there was 2 Toyota trucks, the TPS Racing, and then another guy who was just kind of he built this, and it was a street legal truck that he was racing, and it was like most ridiculously beautiful. Like the interior was still in the truck it's ridiculous.
Oh my god!
But you'd have to see it. I can't even describe it. It's that ridiculously awesome. And then there was us. So that was the race lineup for us. Man, we were in the very back, I believe. Maybe 3 back. I think actually. I think there was 1 truck behind us.
So of course, I'm assuming they put your class in a line, and you just kind of keep easing up to the start line, and
And that's when me and Dave were like, or that's when I was like, smile. You're actually talking in the intercom. I was kind of getting myself situated, feeling right, making sure my belts were all right. Just kind of like kind of squatting down in for the long haul.
Right. Just mentally getting prepared a little bit.
Yeah, I think Dave was as excited as I was because he loves that truck, and I mean he's put his blood, sweat, and tears into that truck, and for him to be able to finally get up to the start line and drive it, I mean this is, he's no spring chicken, but when it comes down to it, dude, he's just a little kid just like me.
Sure.
You getting up to that start line, you want to press that gas pedal, and you want to go play.
And part of it too is you guys had all this problems trying to get the vehicle going, and then he breaks his foot or something before.
He broke his knee a month before it, dude. So he had like a big old brace on, and he wasn't sure how long he was going to last in the driver's seat. So Yeah, that was kind of wild card. He actually just ended up having a little bit of surgery to clean up the knee and stuff like that. But yeah, he straight broke it all the way through, like the
Wow.
front bone or whatever. I don't know what
Ouch.
it's called.
So basically, there you are. So the truck in front of you is about to take off, man, and you've got those belts tight, and you're just I can just see the smile on your face, man.
Yeah,
And-
for sure.
And I've seen the launch video of you guys, and that was so super cool to because it's kind of like in this little, not canyon, but it's in this little like riverbed looking thing, and
Yeah, it's basically a little, a very small canyon that we drove, that started the race up in, in the desert, basically, totally in the desert. And yeah, man, and that was the first time I really heard that thing get up and go. And it's loud. It's got Doug Thorley long tube headers. Doug Thorley sponsors us. It's got 2 race MagnaFlow mufflers, which are basically 6-inch mufflers, and they're like maybe 4 inches in diameter, maybe 5, but they're
Right.
like 6 inches long. So it's like a joke. It's got 2 on each side, but it's basically a joke for a muffler.
right.
And it idles nice and quiet and smooth, and you're like, wow, that sounds good. You get in that thing, and it's just like that throaty, and it was so loud, it was reverberating into our mic. So we had like just where you talk and you could hear each other, as speak to talk or whatever. And every time he goosed it, that you would hear that in your in your ears, in the speakers in your ears, and it was just funny because after a couple of minutes, I totally just got used to it because it was just kind of like, you could hear it, and then now it's louder.
Right.
But
so
yeah, that thing screams, dude. That thing screams.
So I mean, you get to the launch thing, and what is kind of going through your mind right then, man? Of like, I mean, obviously this is real.
You know what? Not a ton. I was really focusing on the hazards. I didn't want to screw up calling hazards. I mean,
Right. So
it was finally my turn to do something.
Game
And,
face was on.
Yeah. I was looking at the GPS, and I was having some kind of problem with the GPS to where like it showed that we were starting at mile 17.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I could not reset it in time, and then we were off. And I was
Right.
like, great, now all the mile markers. So I had to subtract 17 from every mile marker. So it started to get a little confusing. Like I was pretty good with it. I was doing pretty good, but my math was like on point.
So I'm gonna assume the first couple miles in, man, it's just like you're just grinning from ear to ear, and just like you're doing your job. But I mean, your dream has finally became real a little bit, right?
Yeah. So I'd say the first 2 miles, I've driven with a lot of people off road, a lot. I mean, since my brother got his first truck, taking me off road. My other brother getting his first truck, taking me off road. Me getting my first truck, going off road with buddies, and then riding with them. I mean, going to Gone Moab and all different. I don't have any problem with hopping into somebody else's truck and just
Right.
flying around. And I was kind of I'd never driven with Dave before, and I know he's very talented, but you never know. So there was, and mind you that. In this race, every single trophy truck has gone through all these spots already.
Mhm.
So they are, not just every single trophy truck, but every big car, medium-sized car has gone through. So every rut is dug up. The braking bumps are just like extreme. So every corner is like chewed up. The ruts are massive.
Well, and those trucks took off 30 seconds before each one, so the dust and everything's around too, right?
Yeah. So, and luckily we had a little bit of a airflow through some of the areas. A little bit of a breeze, but the first couple miles were a little bit sketchy for me. But I don't even know if it was like the first few turns. I was like, oh, we're coming into this, this extremely rutted out corner at a pretty high rate of speed. But I will say that I have never been in a vehicle driven so skillfully in my life. After the first 2 or 3 corners, Dave would kind of give me a heads up on like what he was doing and how he was driving.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately caught it, like what he was doing, and it was so informative and very subtle on how he was doing it, but ripping, dude. This guy was ripping, and it looked effortless. I was after the first 2 turns, I didn't have a single moment where I was like, oh shit, you know. They was just like coming in, you know, hard left, hard right, you know, slow down, speed up. You know, I was just trying to focus on calling turns from there on out. You know, it wasn't that kind of scared thing. But we actually passed our first competitor in our class about a mile or two in, maybe. We passed him right away. The guy that started 30 seconds ahead of us, we passed him right away. He ended up rolling. I don't know. It must have been a mile after we passed him. He ended up rolling like a couple miles into the race.
Wow.
But he ended up finishing. So hats off to him for pulling it through.
So you're getting 15, 20 miles in, man. Obviously you've kind of set how this is going to be, and y'all are flying. And I remember you texting me and just saying that y'all caught up to the next driver too, right? I mean,
yeah, we actually passed all the guys in our class before the first pit, which we weren't going too crazy, but you know, we were moving good, and those guys were ahead of us, and we started, you know, coming up on them. And the thing is, you start coming up on a guy out in the desert, and you lose everything around you. You don't see anything at all, and that's when the sketchy parts come. Where I was sitting maybe 2 feet back from my GPS. And there was, you know, we'd hit silt beds or, you know, really dusty sections, and we're right on some guy's tail trying to pass him. You know, I'm flaring the siren at him and stuff to you know, let him know we're right there to pass. And he's trying to get ahead of us and not let us pass.
Sure.
And all of a sudden you hit a turn, and I could barely see the GPS in front of me. That's how like whiteout condition it was. And you know, Dave's in the mic saying, which way do I go, and I'm squinting at the GPS, you know, and you might as well be on the moon as far as you're concerned, because you can't see anything. So and at those, and in that area we were kind of in like up on a hill, down in a gully, up in a hill, and there was a couple times where we were kind of up on hills to where if you went off the side of the track, you know, you were going down a 30-foot embankment.
Right.
So those were the sketchy parts. Anytime you get into that dust, it's super sketchy. But we ended up cruising up. And Justin Park, the guy that won the race, we had a good little battle with him coming up to the first pit, a little bit before the first pit. We'd gain on him, get too dusted out, drop back, gain on him. It must have happened like 4 or 5 times.
Right.
And finally, he came in on. We came in into some traffic. There was a Jeep Speed guy. Jeep Speed is basically like a stock class Jeep kind of a thing. He came up on a Jeep Speed guy, which, you know, caused him to slow down even more. So Dave says, I'm going to do a double pass right now. And I'm like, oh, here it comes.
Sweet.
So we come flying up on him, and we see Justin in the Ford Ranger pass this Jeep Speed guy. And so the Jeep Speed guy moves over to the right. That's that kind of thing. You're supposed to move over to the right if you know somebody's coming to pass you.
Mm-hmm.
I see him move over to the right, and then it just goes full dust. And Dave, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do except either slam on the brakes or go forward. And Dave is confident that we are going past this guy. So he stays in the gas, and out of nowhere, I see this Jeep pop back in, you know, like some of the dust clears real quick, and I see this Jeep taillight about 3 inches from the right front bumper. And, like butt crack cringe. You know when like you fly past something, like let's just say you're going to go around on a right-hand corner and you're just trying to squeeze in between the dude and the light pole or something like that,
sure,
or like the car and the light pole, and you're like, I think I'm going to fit, and then you get there and it's like really close. Well, this was like a foot closer than any time I've ever done that. And imagine like everything else is covered in dust and you can't see, and you're driving at like probably 50 miles an hour in like a bumpy scenario. And I swear to you, we came so close to just like clipping the mirror off the truck. But we squeezed right past him. I think he may have seen us and just stuck high on the right a little bit, but
right.
It was a very close pass.
Yeah, because ultimately you do not want to be passed, and you're trying to protect it as much as you can. But I mean, at some point you got to give up.
At some point, it'll get dangerous. Like, and you know what? If somebody's not letting you by and you're way faster, and they're just leaving you, if they're just dusting you the whole time, you're gonna get thumped.
Right.
You thump. That's part of racing. Usually we have sirens on the truck that, say, hey, we're behind you. And usually most of the guys get over.
Yeah, time to surrender.
Yeah.
So you're 20, 25 miles in, man. And I imagine that's really when, like, you've kind of learned your job a little bit, and you've seen the pace y'all were going to be setting, and you're moving along. Did y'all make it to the first pit, or was?
Yeah, we made it to the first pit, and that was after we had passed. Right after that Jeep, the time we passed the Jeep, we ended up coming up. We made a run at Justin. We had a long straightaway. We made a run at Justin in the Ranger, and he was going around a turn. We cut it super short, and he was kind of wide, and just burned right past him, which was. Dude, there's just something about passing somebody. There's just something about being fast. That was the only time we really pushed it. Other than that, we were just kind of cruising. We wanted to be out of the dust. Really, we really wanted to be out of the dust, and we knew that he was kind of like the closest guy that was going to be kicking up dust. So once we got out in front of him, there was this long straightaway. That's when we were hitting like 110, just cruising and. There was all these silt beds on these long straightaways, so we were actually driving just to the left of the main track, kind of just
out of the ruts and stuff,
brush and stuff like that. Yeah, so and it was cool, man. I can't tell you how cool it was. There's no way to fully convince anybody how rad it was, just flying out the desert 100 miles an hour, just. Bah, 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 bah. We were going so fast that the governor was kicking in. Bah, 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 bah,
So who was at the pits for you then? Was it?
It was both of our. I think both of our trucks were at that first pit. Nick Schulte, and basically we were doing good. We were good on gas. We weren't too far in. It was just kind of we ended up just driving through the pit. At the pit in a drive-through pit like that, you just have your guys get on both sides of the pit, and they just give your truck a look over as you drive by. They all gave us a thumbs up, and we're kind of good to go, and we drove out of the pit.
So you don't top fuel off or anything as you're doing it, or?
No, we had our fuel pits set out, and those are the ones we were going to stop at. Unless we broke something. If we broke something, then you usually just top off fuel because you might as well.
So
if you're going to stop.
About what mile is the pits then from start?
The first pit was about 23 miles in, I want to say.
All right, so you've got a good taste of it, man, and y'all jump out of this pit.
Yeah, got a good taste of it, and we head out of the second pit and just start cruising. We were doing real good. We were just kind of getting into a rhythm, really. And I was feeling it. I think Dave was feeling it. We were just, cruising, really. And yeah, we were starting to come into. We didn't really hit too much traffic after that. I think we passed one guy maybe. It was a lot more of that long straightaway section after that first pit, and so we really got from the starting line to pit 1 was a little bit of a time, but that pit 1 to getting close to pit 2. We were flying that, that's when we were just clocking between 160 or 100 to 60 miles an hour, flying through there. Trucks just, screaming. We were floating. Well, everything was good.
I thought it was really cool of the little social network that the Nissan guys have, and everybody's updating their Facebooks, kind of what they're hearing, and all of a sudden I get a text from my buddy Luke that I think something's happened with Dan. I think they're down, and so then just out of nature of just the texting habit, I'm like texting Dan, like, dude, what is going on? And then you send me this picture, Dan, and what the picture, man, it's a guy standing out of the race truck, and I'm like, what would they be doing outside the race truck, man? And you've got your helmet on and your race thing, and I think then you sent me another one, the helmet sitting up on the roll cage or something. And
yeah.
And I'm just at this point I'm like, oh no, man. So kind of what
happened?
Well, not but what led to what happened, man? I mean, because obviously you guys are doing well, the truck is running good, and it looks like you guys were poised for a good finish, and then the breakdown happens.
Yeah, so like I said, we were running smooth. We weren't charged or anything, and we were going over a little, kind of a small whoop section. It wasn't anything worse or worse or better than any other section, but out of nowhere we just hear this kind of like this thunk, and
it was you heard it. It was noticeable.
Oh yeah, it was like we heard it and we kept going, and then we felt a little bit of a judder, kind of in the throttle, and a little bit more clunking, and it actually sounded like either like a drive shaft came off, or like we blew like a trans mount or something like that. It was
out of balance, kind of.
Yeah, it was the first thing that I thought and he thought were like, oh, we lost the drive shaft, and we were like, all right, cool, we got another one in the truck. So
really, so y'all have a drive shaft?
We had a spare drive shaft, so we're like, no problem, we can fix this. So I hop out and the drive shaft's hooked up, all good, and when I say hop out, we pulled over to the side and I jump out and. I have my helmet and fire suit on.
Right.
And the second you unhook that air, because they have what's called a Parker pumper, which pumps air through your helmet.
Mm-hmm.
The second you pull that off, you start sweating like a pig.
I bet.
So I hopped out and I'm looking under the truck, and it's just silt dust everywhere. I'm covered in dust, and I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with the truck underneath the truck, and I don't see anything. And then, I'm like, drive forward a little bit. So he drives forward. It pushes itself forward, So we're thinking, oh, did we lose a transmission?
Mm-hmm.
Did we lose a gear in the transmission?
No, you don't keep a transmission in the glove box there, do you?
Yeah, no extra transit. So, and the truck goes backwards and forwards, and I was trying to figure out, and then I was thinking, well, maybe it is like some kind of mount where the trans is like bucking up and down and hitting the floorboards or something. So I get back in and I said, we were at mile marker 50 and the pit was at 56. Like literally I could see the mile marker, like 20 feet from the front of the truck, and our pit was at 56. So I said, let's go forward. Let's see if we can limp this thing in the pit, and then we'll try and work it out from there.
Sure.
So we get in it and he's driving it, and it's just clunk clunk, it clunk 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 clunk, and it, we're going real slow at this point. We know that somebody's going to come rolling up on us at high speed. We're probably doing maybe 10 miles an hour.
Wow.
So he pulls over again. And he said, "Let's try and find it again." I said, and I was really thinking that it was some kind of something like the trans mount was blown out and like hitting the skid plate, or hit, like the trans was sitting on the skid plate or something.
Mm-hmm.
That was what I thought it was. So he pulls off, and that's when we kind of found it, because he pulls off and he tries to pull it forward again, and just we hear this grrr,
right,
and he was like, that's a transmission. I was like, that sounded like a transmission, because he'd let the clutch out and it wouldn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, well, great, there goes, there's a trans. And then I go underneath and look, and I said, go do it again, and then I saw the drive shaft move. And all the noise, and I was like, oh boy, there it is. So obviously the drive shaft's moving and it's not turning the rear end. There's something
lodged in there.
Something brokey. So I was like, you know what, dude, we blew the rear end out of it.
So did y'all open it up while you were waiting then?
No, we didn't want to. There's no real point of us breaking it open right there, because we didn't have any, there's no reason to, we didn't have anything to fix it right there. And if it wasn't the rear end, it would have been, well, it had to have been the rear end basically.
Right. So when y'all break down there, these are timed events, right? So y'all are kind of under the gun.
Yeah, and the thing is too, is if we broke down, let's just say we broke down at like pit 15 as opposed to pit 2. Pit 15 doesn't close till a certain time. Pit 2 closes like 2 hours in. So, as you pass pits and stuff, you start gaining a little extra time all the way in. So the further you get in, the more time you have to fix broken vehicles. Pit 2, you haven't gained that much time.
Mm-hmm.
And, those pits close pretty early. So we only had about an hour to get through that pit. And nobody's allowed to come out and get us until pit 1 closes. They have to have all the pit race cars go through, through before they let your guys come and pick you up. So, we actually had all of our guys who were up at the second pit. We said, hey, you're gonna have to send somebody out to get us, and the other guys go look for a Dana 44 rear end.
Sure.
And the only guys that are running those are like Jeep Speed guys, and none of those guys had spare rear ends. So that was we kind of got the call about 45 minutes in that nobody had a spare rear end. That's when we were like, that was like the final, like, yeah, you're for sure done. And I think I called you probably 20 minutes before that. I pull out my phone, turn it on. Sure enough, I got full bars. I'm like, well, might as well call. I think I saw your text, and I was like, oh, call Dave. And I just basically just sitting out there drinking water and eating a couple granola bars, waiting for a rescue, knowing that we're 50 miles into a 500-mile race and we're done. So it was pretty depressing. I still had like a grin on my face from the first 50 miles. So I was still happy. And I was still, I was just happy I got to get in the truck and race.
Sure. And I remember when just talking to you, and you could tell that you were bummed out slightly, but you were giddy and just kind of happy, and not how I want to talk to you 50 miles in, but
right.
But hey, that's further than you got the last time, and each time you can make a little bit of headway.
That's pretty much how it goes, man. That's what I was saying. That was one hurdle that we kind of got over, is getting in the race and getting it started and getting some miles into the tires, and not nearly as I would have much rather broke at mile marker 250 than 50.
Right. A little more respect there with that one, huh?
Yeah, but that's desert racing, man. There's so many people that don't finish.
Right.
And we probably passed about 10 cars, trucks, buggies, UTVs in that before that first pit. There's so many people that break, dude. Everybody breaks.
Mm-hmm. Well, speed kills, man, and I think that's is the best you can shake these vehicles down. There's always a weak link somewhere, and obviously the gear. It was the gear, not the pinion gear, right?
Correct. I think we sheared 3 or 4 teeth off the pinion gear,
right.
Or I'm sorry, the ring gear.
Right. Yeah. So that's definitely.
The pinion gear was a little chewed up because there was a bunch of stuff flying around in there.
Yeah, there's a couple. Teeth
we ended up towing it out, and I mean that thing's spinning. There's stuff in there, so that I think it got a little tore up, but.
So what is after the race? I mean, because I'm sure you're somewhat lost. You're just kind of walking around like, well, crap. Now what do you do? Because there's no plan. Everybody plans to race. They don't plan to stop. So I mean, what do y'all end up going and helping other people, or just kind of calling it?
We were kind of planning on it. The people that were going to help were quite a far ahead of us, and we were actually pretty close to Vegas still. And the 3 guys that I was riding with and stuff, they all lived in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up just deciding we were going to load the truck up. Dave was planning on going back to Utah with the truck instead of driving all the way up to Reno, which
Sure.
This and by the time we kind of got it all out to the road, it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we were like, if we drove to Vegas, it'd still be a 6-hour drive. We'd get there late night.
So your however you got there was still in Vegas, right?
Yeah. All my stuff was in Vegas, and we weren't planning on getting back to Vegas for a couple of days. So we ended up just going back to Vegas, got a case of beer, some barbecue. We went and sat in the pool, drank beer and barbecued, kind of just chilled, Like,
dude,
it was a pretty big disappointment. So we
dropped some money.
Sure.
You should have dropped some money on Red or something like that, man.
Yeah,
just
no kidding, right?
Get some of that bad mojo off of you, man.
Right.
Well, I mean, I really wanted this story told a little bit because we kind of hyped this up and with the mint and stuff, and we thought that was going to be your moment, and then all the problems you had, but it'd been a little bit, and of course we kind of been on hiatus for a couple of weeks, just life got in our way. But I really wanted and maybe we'll get Dave on here to discuss it too, because I'm sure he'll have more of a technical aspect with it. But I mean, because this show is not just me; it's definitely you and your personality, and I think the racing is just going to feed your personality, and it's going to make you. I mean, you're awesome as is, man. So I can't imagine you get a few races under your belt,
Thanks,
man.
Dave. Yeah, I'm kind of a really big deal now. You know what though, Dave is I mean, back in the day, I mean, like a year or two ago, I was watching those. There was like one YouTube video of this Xterra racing way back in the day, And there was a couple forum posts about this guy that built this race truck, and it's been out of commission for so long. And I don't know if it was just me or if there was other people out there that were like, man, that'd be cool if that thing was racing again. And just to be a part of kind of getting that thing back in the limelight where it needs to be, back, out there racing, just to have a Nissan out there that's, kind of community driven. I mean, we did the GoFundMe account, and a lot of guys helped, and that really helped me kind of get the funding to get that thing back on the racetrack.
Sure.
And to just to be a part of Dave's dream, my dream, and then kind of, getting it out there for all the, the Xterra guys to sit and drool over.
Well, what was cool was
that's what it was all about.
Watching the Team Xterra race page, and I guess his daughter might do a lot of posting and stuff on that. But, and she had even said it somewhere on the page that she was a young kid, a little, maybe 10-year-old or something, when the last time that truck raced, and now she was literally posting up pictures where she was putting your decals and stuff on it.
Yeah.
And you could tell by the way she was talking, like, this really meant a lot to her dad to be able to get this vehicle kind of going again. And then there you were to kind of, maybe inspire him to kind of get back going with it. And I mean, that is awesome. You're living your dream, but you're also like, you've sparked this guy, maybe his dream to get back out there a little bit, man.
Yeah, it's cool to just kind of be a part of that whole thing. And if I can kind of help that along, I like to, it serves a purpose for marketing and everything like that, but that's like the third reason why I do this. I mean, nobody desert races because of the money. That's what they always say.
Yeah, I was amazed to hear what the guys that do the Baja 1000 make.
Yeah, there's absolutely no money to be made. Even the marketing that I get from it it's more cool guy marketing than actually, this guy drove this truck in the desert, so I'm going to buy stuff from him. But you know what? It's cool, man. I love it. It's passion that I like to do. It's ridiculously fun. I got that. Everybody asked me how was it, and I said, it's the best 50 miles I've ever driven in my life, and that is hands down like a true statement. I mean, up until this, I've driven a lot of cool cars on tracks, full throttle stuff, and nothing can compare to 100 miles an hour over whoop sections in the desert.
Well, we are pressed now, I guess, in a sense. So maybe we can get Nissan to start letting us in on these little junkets they do. And I know out your way they bring out all the European cars and stuff, and you get to test drive them and run them through courses and stuff. So they do have a Juke R here in Nashville. And there's the Nashville Speedway that they like to bring it out to every once in a while, man. So maybe we can, at some point, we can live both of our dreams and get into that thing, man.
Heck yeah!
To our
what kind of a world are we living in when we're dreaming about driving a high performance Juke, though?
Dude, hey, but
his world is weird, man.
Who had ever thought? Who had ever thought when I had this wacky idea of starting an event, or my wacky idea of starting a forum, and then you had your idea of kind of creating a parts company, and which is in turn, I consider you a great friend, and which is in turn we've done this show now, and I mean we have nearly 5,000 downloads, so somebody seems to like our dreams a little bit. So hey,
well, we'll keep dreaming and we'll keep doing.
I need to dream bigger, man.
We'll keep dreaming and keep trying. I don't know about doing, but we'll keep trying. And sooner or later,
right,
something cool is going to happen.
Exactly.
We'll get more than 50 miles, I promise.
And $50 in our PayPal account from Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess that's tonight's show, man. Like this one's a little bit longer, but I really wanted the full view from you there, Dan.
Full banana.
Yeah, man, the full 50 miles.
The full banana, don't you?
Hey, man, I'll peel each layer until I get it.
Oh boy, you're good at peeling the layers, Dave.
Gotta get that shaft out, man. But anyways, well, man, we are super excited, and I can't wait to. I know you've got some bigger plans with this, and maybe down the road we'll get to chat about those.
We have the Blue Water Desert Challenge the second weekend in October, so we got a month away, and we're hopefully going to be getting after it again. We got a new ring and pinion going in, and
maybe a spare.
Yeah. Hopefully this one's better. So
Well, awesome, man.
we'll
Well,
see.
we've got next show. Next show will be coming up in a couple of weeks, and it's going to be the Went.
The Went birthday show, man.
Yeah, man. I've got my mountain moonshine lined up for you, Dan.
Oh, buddy.
and-
Oh, buddy.
I think this year's gonna be a little smoother than last year's. Last year's was little hard
Last
even for
year's
me
was
that
hard.
drinks it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was racing fuel basically. So we're gonna get
Yeah.
Danny all raced up, and we're gonna do a podcast live, man.
Get after it.
So if you're coming to the event, if you're listening to this as you're coming to the event, be sure to come to the event center, which is a large canopy they have, and where we'll stage everybody. Bring a chair, bring your favorite beverage, be loud, be noisy, and let's kick this thing. Let's take the Moab episode, which is our top episode, and let's just make
Blow
it
it out of
even
the water.
crazy, man. We'll have some special guests. Who knows
For
what?
sure.
Who knows what's gonna happen, man? But till then, I am David Boyd, and that's my main big deal over there, Daniel Groders, and this is the Nissan Nation. And what are we?
Out.
Peace.
Can you input some Daft Punk into any of our shows ever?